Thank you all for rejoining me in this new day, this new moment. It's with the grace of our Creator that we're allowed to re-engage on this subject called wisdom, part X. So yesterday I did, part A of part X on wisdom. But just as a reminder, let me remind myself of the opening part of yesterday's episode. I was reciting what I got, I think, from Mr. Ryan Holiday about the inscriptions, these 3 inscriptions in the Temple of Apollo in Delphi, and how high in these slopes of Mount Parnassus, I can't say that, Mount Parnassus, these inscriptions were there where the Greeks went, the ancient, knowledgeable, and important philosophic Greeks went to recenter and get the guidance they needed on their journey. So once again, those inscriptions were, number 1, know thyself. Number 2, nothing in excess. Number 3, surety brings ruin. And then I went into an online magazine, or an actual magazine by Rashad Tabakawala, September the 7th, 2025. And the main subject was on wisdom. And I covered in yesterday's discussion a definition for joy and also appreciation. So the next part of this will be on the next version or next step in the conversation with him. And we're talking now about the third part. I think I went over the first 2 parts where it was about imagining a thing where you've lost something, imagining that you were doing something for the last time. The third part is imagining the life that you lead is a life that millions aspire to as you aspire to some other life. Most humans aspire to the next better and bigger thing, a combination of our hedonistic adaptation, meaning getting used to what we have, benchmarking against others and other things, the income and home we thought would be amazing a decade ago may be seen as just okay when compared to others. And imagination, our ability to imagine greater, bigger, and better, to remind of it in our media streams, that all drives us to next. We sometimes define our happiness by our advancement towards the things we do not have versus the things we do have. Most people living in the Western world, or upper and upper middle classes of most countries, who also have their health, are living the life that billions aspire to. The life we have got used to is the aspiration for most people. We may wish to celebrate every new day as a day of thanks and gratitude. The next part of this discussion, loss. If there are 3 realities to life, they are learning, loving, and loss. Not everybody succeeds at learning or love, but everybody gets a graduate degree in loss and a doctorate when people very close die. Joan Didion wrote 2 books on the loss of her husband, The Year of Magical Thinking, and her daughter, Blue Nights, which are only read by many dealing with loss. She wrote of the fragility of life, knowing that her husband died while eating dinner. Quote, life changes fast. Life changes in the instant. You sit down at dinner and life as you know it ends. And the loneliness afterwards. A single person is missing for you and the whole world is empty. And as time moves forward and people, places, and hopes come and go, people are shaped by what is no more. We are imperfect mortal beings, aware that mortality, even as we push it away, failed by our own complication, so wired that when we mourn our losses, we also mourn for better or for worse ourselves, as we were, as we are no longer, as we one day will not be, is not at all. But in the end, Miss Didion notes that we go on by forging new stories and finding new places and begin forgetting. We all forget too soon the things we thought we could never forget. Forgive me. We forget the loves and the betrayals alike, forget what we whispered and what we screamed, forget who we were. But one must forge ahead. Do not whine, do not complain, work harder, spend more time alone. And to college graduates a few years ago, she made the case for living deeply. I'm not telling you to make the world better, because I don't think that progress is necessarily part of the package. I'm just telling you to live in it, not just to endure it, not just to suffer it, not just to pass through it, but to live in it, to look at it, to try and get the picture, to live recklessly, to take chances, to make your own work and take pride in it, to seize the moment. And if you ask me why you should bother to do that, I could tell you that grave's a fine and private place, but none, I think, do there embrace. Nor do they sing there, or write, or argue, or see the tidal bore on the Amazon, or touch their children. And that's what there is to do, and get it while you can, and good luck at it. Time. How we spend our days is, of course, how we spend our lives, wrote Alan Dillard. Tell me, what is it that you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Asked Mary Oliver. Life is a journey through reality and time in search of meaning. Frank Kafka wrote, "The meaning of life is that it stops." And most of us can calculate the robust and healthy days left, if we are lucky, by subtracting our age from 80, around which most begins to go wrong physically, and sometimes also one may see as a diminishment in mental faculties, leading to a much more constrained life, and multiplying it by 365 days. If you are 60 and you have less than 7,500 days, if you are 40, you have 15,000 days. So when someone asks you to do things without some form of fair compensation, it doesn't have to be money, but can be learning, experience, or the joy of helping, or does not respect your time, do remember that you are the one paying for their disrespect and their cheap valuation of your life. In the future, the ritual of the ordinary day will be special, just as we came to realize after months of COVID that the simple pleasures of free movement, meeting friends, sitting in a crowded bar, or watching a sports game were so special. Life does not have to be lived forward and understood backward if we decide to pay attention. Nice. Be aware of the fading moments of now. Look around you. Watch the special quality of light or listen to the hiss of the air duct. Treasure the conversations and even in the repetition and lack of differentiation of day after day. Because one day it will not be so. Wow. There is so much in there from Mr. or Miss Tabakawala on wisdom. I'm not sure I can add to that. I'm going to have to revisit this, and I'll add in my comments or things that have resonated with what I was saying for myself before I read this, but I think it speaks of its own. And thank you, Miss or Mrs. Tabakawala, for allowing me to recite this to the folks out there who may not have ever heard this. But this is the wisdom that hopefully we can all respect and share and put into action on our journey in resilience today. So pay attention, stay present, stay current. Remember, it is always 8:20.